This is Greg Helbeck, and welcome to this week's REI Deal Breakdown. Today, I'm going to talk about a single-family house that I wholesaled in Western Orange County, New York. I'm not going to share the address, but this was a piece of real estate that was a pretty good wholesale deal, at least for me. And then for the end buyer, different story. But the lessons that I'm going to share on this REI breakdown should help you. So if you haven't seen me around before, I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for almost 10 years. I've done well over 250 houses. I've done deals all over the country, primarily in the Northeast. The point of this content is to share with you the lessons I've learned so you can hopefully learn from my mistakes and make your real estate investing journey easier. So if you get value, if you can please do me a favor, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, if you can share this with other people, that's how we are consistently growing the show on a weekly basis. So today we're talking about Western Orange County, New York, wholesale deal. So the way we found this property was we did a pay per lead bid. So what we did was we bid on Orange County. It was probably $300-400. The company was called Property Leads that we got the lead from. Long story short, people were living in this house. They were moving, I believe, to Florida, and it was in apparently pretty good shape, according to them. We wanted to sell to a cash buyer. So we made an agreement with them. It was a pretty high purchase price, but I do remember I was like, man, this is a really big house. So I feel like this is worth a lot more than what we're paying. So I think the best option here is to wholesale it because it was a high purchase price and we weren't 100% sure on the true resale value as is and ARV renovated. It was a complete virtual wholesale deal where no one ever went there. I put it out to my buyers list and one of my main buyers was super interested. I said, listen, I want to sell this sight unseen. After it was all said and done with closing costs and everything, ended up double closing and made roughly $23,000 on a complete 100% virtual wholesale. The cost to get that lead was $300 to $400. We probably had to get 10 or 15 leads. So do the math real quick. So it costs about $4,500 in marketing costs if we assume we had to get 15 leads from this channel to get that deal. So spent $4,500 in pure marketing cost, made $23,000, right? So the return on ad spend there is 5 to 1. So basically, the way I look at that as a marketer, we spent $1 on marketing in this specific channel, Property Leads, and we end up generating $5 back. So we got a 5 to 1 return on ad spend, which is very respectable, very profitable. Overall, a win for us as the wholesaler. Now, here is the story that no other wholesalers like to talk about. In this case, we were very transparent with the buyer. We said, these are the pictures that the seller took. We have to do it sight unseen. So you have to make your offer based on these pictures. And we told them that this is all we know about the property. This is what it is. Like, you have to go off of these pictures and it's sight unseen. So the funny thing about this was that the pictures, I don't know if the seller was really good at like Adobe Photoshop or something, but the pictures made the house look really, really nice. And this is the knowledge we were going off of. So the buyer obviously, used those pictures as well. So when he actually closed, he thought he was going to be able to just resell it. He had to put $70,000 of construction into this house to sell it. And he just texted me yesterday and he said he lost $8,000 on that property. Now, you would think, what the hell here? That doesn't make any sense. And obviously for the buyer, it wasn't the best deal, but we did not hide anything about the house. We disclosed everything. We sent the pictures we got. The buyer understood that the property was an as-is sale. It was sight unseen. So even though the buyer lost money, I didn't feel like I misled anybody there because we were working off the information we had. So sometimes you're going to sell wholesale deals to buyers and you're going to make the money and the buyer's not going to make any money. That's just the way it is. I've had that happen to me many times. But then on the other side, sometimes you're going to have wholesale deals that you sell for 10,000 or whatever. And then the buyer makes 80 and you're like, oh my God, I should have bought that myself. So there's always a balancing act. Now, the good thing here is that this buyer, even though he, I guess, paid too much for the property and ultimately lost money, he wasn't mad at me. He wasn't upset with me. He doesn't think I deceived him. He was very professional about it. And I've sold him multiple houses and he's made a ton of money off my deals. But he understood that that was the choice he made. He took a risk and, got burned a little bit because that's the way the business is. You're going to have to give and take a little bit. So if you have really good buyers and you have good relationships with them and you keep your word and they keep their word, that's how you have consistent success, right? Because even though he lost $8,000 on this property, he's made way more than that on other deals that we've sold him. I sold him 2 deals afterwards, actually, that he's going to make great money on, right? So it's always a give and a take situation when you're wholesaling. So that was the property in Western Orange County. Some lessons you can learn. Number one, disclose everything and give the buyers the information that you have that they need. And, if they lose money, it's not your problem, assuming you disclosed everything and they knew what they were getting into. And this was a legitimate buyer. This wasn't some random weekend seminar guy who was hoping to get rich in real estate quick. This is an established person. Number two, you can virtual wholesale houses all over the country without having to see them. Like this deal, we made 23 grand, didn't see the house, never stepped foot in there, barely know where it is in Orange County. And the third lesson here is when a buyer loses money and you make money as a wholesaler, you shouldn't feel bad unless you didn't disclose something. Like if I knew something about the property and I didn't tell the buyer and he lost money, I would feel bad at that point because that would be my responsibility to tell him what's going on with the house. But in that case, I did everything right. I gave him the information I had, and he ended up losing money, and we still have a very great relationship. So that's the way these deals are. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Most of the deals we do now are base hits. We get the occasional home run every now and then, and that's the way the business is. If you're in it for the long haul, you got to expect the ups and the downs. And that's property in Western Orange County. I hope you got value from this. The channel, once again, was from propertyleads.com. It's a pay per lead service. They're pretty good. So if you're in Orange County, if you're in Hudson Valley, if you're in Reno, San Diego, Seattle, Delaware, if you're in one of those areas and you have a house you want to wholesale to me, because I buy houses from wholesalers, or if you want to wholesale with me, I got a great buyers list like this guy. He just bought that house sight unseen. Send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or you can DM me on Instagram, and I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'll also see you on the next video. Take care.